good evening. How everyone doing today? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Sermon Michelle Space Divine. I'm here give you a word on today. Now we still in Solomon, Solomon couple days he made king, and yesterday we talked about how God asked him, you ask for anything you want, and you will get it. It will be granted to you. So he asked for discernment, wisdom, so now today, we gonna see how Solomon gonna use his first time using his wisdom. So Solomon is a king. Now he's about to build a temple for God. So now, he's about 20 years old, young, and don't know what to do to lead God's people. So God told Solomon to ask for whatever you want. So Solomon asked for discernment, and now he is the wisest king of the nation. And God said, I'm going to make your name great. He said, now what I give you, no one cannot, add up amount to you. So now Solomon is about to use his discernment. He's about to make a decision, would affect two prostitutes, women, with a child. Now this is a decision he about to make. So the two prostitutes came to King Solomon, both new mothers, residing together in the same house. Nobody else in the house but those two women. So there's no witness. So it's those the two women that's in this house. So the women are clearly on their own, feeding for themselves, each with a new human being. Both of them got a child. Both of them living in a house. No one else in the house but those two. So one said she had a baby, and while there was death, so he told the lady saying both of them have a baby there, but this woman also had a baby. So both of them have a baby in the house. Now we were alone. They was alone. No one else in the house. So it's their word against the other woman's words. Standing up there to Solomon pleading their case. So there was no one in the house but the two of them. Now two women with babies. Both of them have babies. Living under the same roof. Now there's no witness in the house. And it's hard to plead your case when you innocent and trying to plead your case when there is no witness. But all you can do is speak from your heart the truth, and the person can still identify what's true and what's not true. And that's what the judge is supposed to do. The judge is supposed to sense who is evil, who is not. That's why it is a judge. And so now we about to see how Solomon is going to use his discernment on this decision that he have to make. Now he has to pick the right woman who is telling the truth. So she stated during the night, this woman's son, she said the woman's son died because she laid on him. That's why the doctors always say it's not good, to have a newborn baby in the same bed with you, because you never know if you sleep while you rolling over, you're going to sleep and lay right on top of that baby and smother the baby. She said she laid on top of this baby. So she got up in the middle of the night, and took my son from my side, and while the servant was asleep. So she said while she was asleep. Now she seen the other lady, baby die, because she smothered the baby, laying on top of the baby. She said her baby was still alive. So she put him in her breast, and put her dead son by my breast. So she already seen the other lady's son is dead. So then when she waking up, she seen the dead child in front of her, and she seen the other lady with the live baby, and she already know that baby, her baby had died. So how Solomon gonna? See, there's no witness. That's when his discernment about to kick in. For him to make the decision, the right decision, which woman is telling the truth, which live baby is supposed to go to which woman. One of these women baby died, and one of them swap out the dead baby and the other woman owner. So Solomon gonna have to make this decision. So now Solomon have to use his discernment, to determine who is telling the truth. Since there was no witness, it was just them two in the house. It is their word against the other word. You know, so they arguing. This my baby, that's my baby. So Solomon about to make a decision. That gonna affect him of placing this baby into the right mother arms. So the next morning, she said she got up to nurse her baby. She got to nurse her baby because remember her baby was still alive. She saw the other baby was dead, and he was dead, But when I looked at him closely, see, that's what I'm saying. Everything go on that night, but then when morning get here, when that light come on, then you can see the real identity, So then she looked closely at this baby in the morning when that light came on. She saw that it was not her son. She saw it was not her son that she had home. That's why it's good, ladies, when you have a baby, when it first come out of you and be placed in your own, you ought to be looking. Okay, was he looking at the birth mode? You're looking at his expression, how his face look, how his shape, head shape. You got to look at all these things. By this lady had examined her baby. She knew exactly how her baby looked. She knew that was not her baby. So there had been a swap overnight with these two women babies. But when morning came, with the light came on, to see the real identity, to see the whole truth. One of the women, had went to nurse her baby, and she looked closely, and she realized it was not her son. When she said the other woman, have her baby, it's good that she looked closely at her baby when she first birthed that baby. When that baby first came out of her, she examined her baby, and that's how she was able to look closely and realize that was not her baby. So the other woman had said no, the living baby is mine. The other woman said no, so they're arguing. They're going backwards and forward, saying the live baby's hers, the other baby saying, but somebody swapped our baby out. But the first one insists that no, the dead baby, is yours. And the living one is mine. So she determined that this is her baby, the dead baby is yours. And so they argued right in front of King Solomon. Because, they went up there with their case to Solomon. So they going back and forth. No, the dead baby is yours, the living baby is mine. So now these two women arguing who the live baby is for and the dead baby is for. So now Solomon about to use his discernment, who live baby belongs to. So now King Solomon said, bring me the sword. So they brought him a weapon for the king, and he gave an order, cut the living child in half and give half to one and the other half to the other. Now this is a reason why he's shaking everybody up right now. He's shaking everybody up right now. Give me that sword. Y'all arguing about who this live child for? Nobody don't want to tell me the truth. Who swapped the dead baby out? Since nobody can tell me the truth, give me that big old knife. Let me cut this live baby in half, and I'm going to give you half. I'm going to get the other one half. It's a reason why he did it that way. The reason Solomon has stated to cut the baby in half, this way Solomon, he'll know the hard. He'll know the horrible, expected the crucifixion of the sentence. Solomon knew once their only sign, well, it was a sign to discover, who the real mother is. Because when he said, give me that long knife, to cut that baby in half, he wants to see the expression on the real mother face. Who gonna have the compassion? Who gonna have the compassion? Who gonna have the affection? You see, and that's what the judges do too. When a judge see a criminal talking, and I'm not a judge, I'm a spiritual. I also do that too. I look at you and see the expression when you're talking. I know when you're telling the truth, and I know when you're not. So Solomon did it this way, so he could see the expression on the real mother face, see the compassion, the love, determined that this real mother had. Cause nobody but the real mother will have compassion on a child that Solomon talking about cutting their hair. You know, so and a tendency, for her child. And therefore, in order to distinguish between the two of his business was to make the trial of this, he commanded the child to be divided, and everyone really thought he was going to execute this baby, but that was a turn for him to shake up the one who is not the baby for the real mother. He did that to shake everything up, to shake it up, to have them really thinking he gonna cut this baby in half, to see who the real mother is. The real mother stepped forward, so the real mother had compassion, she had affection, she was determined of this horrid execution that Solomon is talking about doing to this baby, so Solomon, decision was to discover, the compassion of the real mother, and it worked. It worked because the real mother did have compassion, and we about to hear the two statements of both mothers, the way that the way that Solomon had distinguished who the real mother is. So this is the first woman. The first woman said, whose son was alive was no. This is the verse that Solomon said. He said, the woman whose son was alive was deeply moved out of love for her son and said to the king, please, my lord, give her the living baby, don't kill her. So that's how he distinguished who was the real mother. Because the real mother had compassion. She said, wait, don't kill that baby. You go ahead on and give her a baby. She was willing to give the other woman the baby to keep Solomon from killing the live baby, which she knew it was hers, to keep the argument, because they would have kept on arguing. She didn't want them to keep on arguing. She knew Solomon was going to execute that baby. To keep a live baby alive, she give her baby up and said, go ahead on, give it to the other woman. That was, so, but the second woman, but the other woman had said, neither I nor you shall have it. Cut him in half. So we see she didn't even care. So just why Solomon had said he will cut the baby in half only, to see which one will be compassionate on him or cutting the baby. So that was the reason why, so that was very smart. He used his discernment to come up with an idea like that, So this is the first mother. Now we see the first mother has spoke with compassion, deeply moved, love for the son, beg the king, don't kill this child. Now this the first one, the first mother, she had compassion on Solomon, about to cut this baby in half. Now here's the second mother. Now we see the second mother, don't care. So this the two distinctions how Solomon had picked which one was the real mother. Now this the second mother, she didn't care. She said, go ahead and cut the baby in half. She ain't care. That's just like when her baby died, she didn't even care. She just tossed the dead the baby on the side and just went took another body, a baby, and put her dead body in the other woman. There was a woman that don't care. So when the king give his ruling, give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is the real mother. Now Solomon was real smart. Now just the first time he used his discernment since God had given it to him. And he did a good job. He came up with a good idea to determine who is the real mother. He wanted to shake them up. He wasn't going to slice that baby in half. He wanted to see the real mother with the compassion on her to see if he really was going to slice that baby up. So that was a good idea he came up with. Because they kept arguing and going back and forth in front of Solomon. He couldn't believe her. He couldn't believe that one. Cause both of them was saying, "This mine, that's her. This mine, this her." So he came up with something quick. So that's when he said, "Give me that big old knife. Give me that sword over there. I'm gonna just cut it in half and give you one and give that one." Just to see the expression on these ladies' face to determine who the real mother is. So now we see that Solomon was real smart. He used his discernment to come up with a good idea to determine the real mother. So only the real mother will have compassion, on the king cutting the baby in half. Nobody but the real mother will have compassion. And we see this other lady had no compassion at all. She was like, "Oh, okay, you could just cut the baby in half." Neither one of us had a baby. That wasn't a compassion mother because that was not her son. So that's how Solomon was able to determine who was telling the truth. So now the baby is not cut in half, but given to the real mother what it belonged to. So when all Israel heard the verdict, the king had given, they held the king an oath because they saw that he had wisdom from God to administer justice. So everyone had witnessed, Solomon using his wisdom, and he didn't know that God gave that to him. So that was a miracle that Solomon had did. That was glory on God's behalf. Cause see, God gets the glory. Because just like they had brought God's name in it, they said what God had give him. So we're gonna give God the glory on this situation because God gives Solomon, this wisdom. So anytime he used his wisdom, it's God getting the glory because God had give him that gift, to use in a perspective way. So Solomon asked God for wisdom, and God give it to him. So now all Israel, they see the wisdom that God had given him. They were standing right there. They all see that he came up with this idea to determine who the real mother was. And we see the first mother was the real mother, and Solomon give the live baby to Solomon. I mean to the first mother. So now this is the first, time Solomon had used his wisdom and his discernment, and he worked it very well. He did a good job. So meaning he is ready to build the temple. He ready to lead God people. So he had asked God that for a multiple reason. To lead his people, and he about to build a temple. Building a temple back in those days, they didn't have no direction or nothing like that. You had to be smart. You had to have the smart, the knowledge, and everything else, to build the temple. They didn't have screws and nails and all this. They didn't have no instruction. They didn't have none of that. So he asked for discernment and wisdom for his lifetime. In life, he had to lead the Israelite. He had to build the temple. He also is a prophet, a judge, and everything else. But we see this is his first case. This was his first case, and he just got to be king, and he was 20 years old. That's why he asked God for it. He said, "God, give me discernment because I don't know how to lead these people. I don't know how to give direction and instruction and nothing." He said, "God, give me knowledge, give me discernment to know how to do this thing." So this is first time using. This is first time using, and he did a good job. To be 20 years old and he using his discernment that he asked God for. But still, we're gonna give God the glory because this is a gift that God had given to Solomon. So any works that Solomon is doing with that gift is still God's glory. So that's all the word I have for you on today. And remember to make wise decisions. I ask God that all the time. For wisdom and discernment. We all need that in life. You don't just have to be a prophet. You don't just have to be a king. We all need that in life. We all need discernment and knowledge, wisdom. You need all that. To determine to make the right decision in life. So y'all have a nice evening, and I see y'all on the next video.